Satnam and welcome. So, most of us inherit some kind of ancestral karmic pattern. Many times we're not even aware. These patterns, many of the times, actually look like mental health instabilities, like anxiety, like depression. And a lot of the times, they also look like prosperity blockages, toxic relationships, abuse of all sorts of types. And we ourselves, when we don't become aware that we're on these patterns, we can not only continue to repeat them, but we can also pass them down to our lineage. So we've been talking a lot on this channel about what ancestral karma is. And in my last video, which you definitely want to go check out, I share with you the three most important things you must do in order to disrupt these very toxic patterns. One of those things that we talked about was that in order for us to truly disrupt these toxic patterns in our life, we have to go to the level of the brain. We actually have to heal the brain. And through that, change and rewire our DNA. Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you a very, very powerful Kundalini meditation that has been studied by many universities and has been practiced by many, many yogis for the purpose of bringing healing to the brain, rewiring the DNA, and even making us feel and experience the gifts of our ancestors and not just the karma. So Satnam and welcome everybody. Such an honor to be here with all of you today. And like I shared with you just a few moments ago, in my last video, I spoke a lot about how emotions are the language of our ancestors and how there are certain things that we must do in order to really disrupt these karmic patterns that are inherited, that we inherit many times because they're passed down not through genetics, but they're actually passed down literally in the DNA. And one of those things that we're talking about is the brain and why it is crucial and absolutely imperative that we as a society learn to heal the brain. And it's not just because of the ancestral karmic patterns that we inherit, such as mental health instabilities, which include anxiety and depression. It's not just that, it's also because of the time and age that we are living in. This is the age of Aquarius, the age of information. And you and I are consuming more information in one day than our ancestors consumed in their entire lifetime just 80 to 90 years ago. Our brains are literally like computer processing systems. And when we don't allow ourselves to go within and bring oxygen to the brains, even if you've never inherited any ancestral karmic pattern, toxic, abusive pattern, you are still going to be struggling tremendously, meaning nervous system breakdowns, meaning mental health instabilities that look like anxiety and depression. And so we all need better brain health. And the beauty of Kundalini technology is that many of the meditations actually have been created so that we can get to these root causes and heal. And the meditation that I'm going to be sharing with you today, it's a very powerful meditation known as the Kirtan Kriya. Not only has been practiced by many yogis for the purposes of healing and rewiring and restructuring the brain, but it has been studied by many, many, many universities for the purposes of understanding how it works specifically, especially to rewire memory loss and to help patients even with Alzheimer's and dementia to obtain the healing of the brain that is needed. So we know now that because the information age really uses up energy, our neuron velocity to consume and process this information. But we also know that trauma that you yourself have experienced or that your ancestors have experienced, they immediately impact the brain. They literally physically deteriorate it. In fact, there have been many recent research that actually was shared by Dr. Dharma, who is a Kundalini yoga teacher. He actually studied at Harvard as well as a doctor. And one of the things that they did a research on was with this specific meditation, the Kirtan Kriya, they were seeing a patient who was not even that old. He was in his late 40s, but struggling a lot with memory loss, struggling a lot with anxiety, struggling a lot with the early symptoms of what could be dementia, right? And they looked at this, they scanned this 40-year-old brain, and the brain literally looked like it was a 90-year-old's or someone older because of the distress and the lack of oxygen that this brain was receiving. And obviously, stress and our inability to process emotions, which we talked about last week, you want to go check out that video, literally uses up energy, which restructures the patterns of the brains and the pattern of your neurons. So it can absolutely damage the brain, which then causes it to not secrete these really beautiful chemicals. Well, with this meditation, the Kirtan Kriya, research has been ongoing for a long time now, especially since 2003. And thank God there is now a bigger study being done in the world with this particular meditation, because what they noticed is this 40-year-old, after he was given this meditation to practice it for 40 days, especially 40 days consecutively, you can scan your brain and we can absolutely notice the differences. He came back, and not only had he released his anxiety and depression and all these different mental health issues that he was going through, but when they scanned the brain, they noticed that the brain was now spongy. There was blood flowing through it, and it actually was functioning and secreting good chemicals that actually go into the body to help us heal. You see, when you go through trauma, the chemicals in the brain are not secreting the way they're supposed to. And instead of getting high vibrational good chemicals to heal, we're getting chemicals that are making us sick. And so the brain is very much needed as it relates to healing, needs to be addressed, especially as it relates to trauma. And like I've shared with you many times, it doesn't matter if you didn't go through the trauma. Through behavioral epigenetics, we know that we can inherit that in our DNA, which this meditation actually proved to actually change the DNA. How it does that is in many different ways. So first and foremost, studying this meditation, what it actually proved was that the reason that it was reversing memory loss in patients that have Alzheimer's and dementia is because there's a specific area of the brain that it impacts. There's an area of the brain that is called singularitis, and it's called the posterior singularitis, and it is the first area of your brain that actually goes down, crashes for those people that start to lose their memory, like Alzheimer's and dementia and things of that nature. What they what they figured out was that practicing this meditation actually specifically increased the blood flow in this posterior singularitis part of the brain, which means it is literally addressing and bringing oxygen to the specific area where memory loss actually begins. So when they did this with a lot of different students and clients or patients, they realized that not only was their memory improving, that they were reversing the loss that they had experienced as well within the brain. Literally, if everyone did this meditation, like nobody would lose their memory. Nobody. We lose our memory because of trauma and overconsumption of information, right? And if you practice this meditation, you would not lose the memory because there's improvement of energy blood flow in this very important part of the brain. Other studies, like for example, the one that happened in UCLA. Now, this one is absolutely groundbreaking. I mean, there were Nobel Prize winners that literally said, wow, we've never seen anything like this. And you see what the research discovered was that for those that practice this meditation, there's these enzymes within all of us that are called telomerase. And these telomerase are sort of like basically the end caps of a shoelace. So if you're like wearing a tennis shoe, the end caps of these shoelaces, what is that enzyme, that telomerase? The longer your telomerase, the more energy you have, the more healthy you are, the longer you live. The shorter they are, if they get really, really short, you literally die because you don't have that enzyme anymore. And they get shorter and shorter and shorter in all of us through stress, through not processing our traumas, through not processing the ancestral karmic pain that has been inherited in our DNA. And what they discovered, and this is groundbreaking because there is no other meditation, there is nothing else out there in this entire planet that gave them the results that they discovered, which is that by you practicing this meditation for 40 days straight for just 12 minutes per day, it increased the amount of this enzyme by 43%. 43%. This is the largest increase ever to happen with any meditation. So yes, it is groundbreaking because it increases our genetic health. It changes the DNA. Remember, you inherited these karmic behavioral patterns now proven through behavioral epigenetics through the DNA. And the only way we can rewire the DNA is through meditation. There is no magic pill. There is no operation, not for your DNA, not for your brain, but there is this very powerful meditation. And what the great gurus and the yogis basically explain to us is that with this mantra that you're going to be using, because this is mantra, kirtan means singing. So it's a singing exercise. So we use a sound frequency, a mantra that actually helps us come into the nucleus of our being, come back home to self, right? There's specific pituitary gland secretions that happen that make you feel like you're back home. So what does this do? There's an improvement in our well-being. There's less anxiety. There's less depression, because the biggest stress that we have as human beings is not being ourselves. So this meditation not only has been proven to heal the brain scientifically, but it also spiritually, we understand how powerful it is so that we can come back to our truth. We can come back to our bodies by releasing the memories of the trauma and changing our DNA. So what we do with this meditation is we're going to be practicing it together today for 12 minutes, and we're going to be using the sound frequency known as Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Satanama is one of the most common sound frequencies you're going to hear in Kundalini Yoga. And Sa means infinity, while Ta means life, Na means death, Ma means rebirth. So this mantra translates to shedding the old you and becoming who you were meant to be, your true self. And these sound frequencies, they come from a science of energy known as Gurumukhi. It's not even a language, it's an actual science of energy. That when you recite and chant these mantras, there is nothing more powerful than your voice for healing. And you're actually changing your physical and energetic structure. You're going to the level of the subconscious. You're bringing the sound frequency to the level of the DNA so that you can experience your truth, so that you can experience the nucleus of your being with this beautiful mantra. Now, the other aspect of this meditation, I'm going to show you how to do it first before we actually practice it together for 12 minutes. The other aspect of this meditation is the movement with our hands. That is known as a mudra. Your hands are going to be sitting on your lap the entire time. However, every time you hear Sa, you're going to tap the thumb to the tip of the pointer finger. And then Na, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. So with our hands resting on our lap, we're going to chant for 2 minutes out loud, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, with our eyes closed, continuing the movement of touching the thumb to each of the fingers, the tips of the fingers. Very important, as the sound frequency is doing something as it's touching the upper palate of your tongue to the brain. But then as you're tapping and touching the tips of each of the fingers, it is also proven that this is lighting up, igniting specific areas of the brain for this blood flow improvement, for better agility, and to rewire that DNA at that level, right? So you're going to continue to chant out loud, and it's a singing, like really just, there's no wrong or right way to do it, but you're really voicing out loud that first part. Satanama, Satanama. And then for 2 minutes, you're going to be doing that out loud. And then for 2 minutes, we're going to then whisper, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And then when we're done with the 2 minutes, you will hear the background music. You will completely say it to yourself in complete silence for 4 minutes. Continue the movement with the fingers. Now, chanting it to yourself. 4 minutes, and then we'll come back 2 minutes, we'll whisper it again, continuing the movement, and then we will end with out loud, Satanama, concluding the meditation at the 12-minute mark. So 2 minutes out loud, 2 minutes whispering, 4 minutes to yourself, 2 minutes whispering, 2 minutes out loud. Very easy to follow, and it's going to make you feel amazing almost immediately. This is also one that you can definitely show your children to do because it's such an easy meditation to do, and you want to keep their brains super healthy, especially with the consumption of information, the iPads, the iPhones, the computers that they're also using as well. So we'll go ahead and start the meditation. So if you can please find your way into easy pose. Easy pose is just sitting, legs crossed. You can practice this meditation lying down. You can practice this meditation sitting on a chair. You don't have to be sitting in easy pose, but the best way to do it is the way I'm sitting in easy pose. Aligning your spine nice and straight. We're going to bring our hands into our heart space, tucking our thumbs deep into the sternum of the heart. We start in Kundalini Yoga with the Adi mantra, Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. This mantra connects heaven and earth, brings together mind and the heart to bring us into the present moment as we commence, as we start the meditation. So we take 3 deep inhales through the nose, exhale through the nose. On the 3rd exhale, I'll start us off on the mantra Om Namo Gurudev Namo, and then I'll say a prayer to get us started. So let's begin by taking our first deep inhale through your nose. Inhale. Hold the breath in. Allow yourself to imagine this 1,000-petal lotus opening at the crown chakra. Hold the breath in. And now exhale through your nose. Pushing the belly all the way out, all the way out, all the way out. Inhale one more time. Holding the breath in, hold it, suspend, bring the belly button into the back of the spine, and exhale. Push the belly out, 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 out. Last time to begin. Inhale. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale. Exhale. Adkuri Name Jugadkuri Name Satkuri Name Siri Gurudeve Name. Adkuri Name Jugadkuri Name Satkuri Name Siri Gurudeve Name. Adkuri Name Jugadkuri Name Satkuri Name Siri Gurudeve Name. Inhale. Exhale. And now immediately extend your arms out, palms facing to the heaven, align your spine. We're going to go ahead and begin the meditation. Remember, you'll hear the sound frequency in the back. We start with chanting out loud, whisper to yourself, and reverse it back, whisper, and then out loud. So let's go ahead and begin.
Satanama, 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 Satanama. Sadanama, 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 Sadanama,
Sadanama. We're going to start with the whisper. Sadanama.
Sa
And now extend your palms on your knees with your eyes closed. Take a deep inhale through the nose, suspend the breath at the crown. Hold it in, hold it in. And exhale. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Let's bring our hands back to our heart space and we'll end together with the long Sat Nam. We inhale and we exhale Sat Nam. Truth is our identity. Inhale. Sat Nam. Satnam, Waheguru Waheguru Satnam. Please honor yourself, and now we can open our eyes, remembering God herself is experiencing herself through you. Ooh, you can come back into your body, take your time as long as you need. This particular meditation, one of the things that Jogi Bhajan said that one of his students asked him, will this prevent me from getting dementia? And he said, not only will it prevent you from getting dementia, but you will go into another dimension. And that's literally what happens with this meditation. It's really working so effectively biophysically on the brain, which then allows it to then secrete these beautiful chemicals, which then allow us to elevate ourselves spiritually so that we can change the DNA, heal the brain, and disrupt ancestral karmic patterns that no longer serve us. Today, we actually practiced it for a little bit longer. I didn't realize it was actually 14 minutes instead of the 12. So the first part was 4 minutes long. for those of you that are beginners, which this meditation was given to beginners, those that have never meditated in their life, and they still receive the beautiful benefits after especially 40 days. But for those of you that want to start in the 12 minutes, just go to 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and come back in reverse as well. So either way, you can't go wrong with it. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. It just is doing it. And of course, keep at it for 40 days and let me know in the comments below just how much your life has changed. I look forward to sharing with you even more Kundalini technologies as we progress on this YouTube channel. So thank you all so much for subscribing. Thank you for sharing and thank you for liking. And of course, don't forget to go check out this video that I just uploaded just a few days ago. That's going to give you even more information about the 3 specific ways to disrupt ancestral karmic patterns with my SWC method of Kundalini yoga therapy and A Course in Miracles spiritual psychotherapy. Spiritual psychotherapy. I look forward and seeing